Hi, I'm Lisa with Child's Play. Since we're all having lots of forced family fun time at home, we thought it'd be fun to teach you all how to play some games. We had a request for Trash Pandas, so we're going to start with that. This is Trash Pandas, an awesome game by Gamewright. In Trash Pandas, the goal is to get as many points stashed in your stash as you can. You have to be one with the raccoons and steal a lot of gross trash. So I'm going to explain the tokens now and explain the cards and what they do, and then we'll show you how you play them. The cards can be played in two ways. You can play the card to activate the action that's written on the bottom of the card, or you can stash the card in your stash, which is how you accumulate points. You only get points for cards in your stash, not the cards in your hand. Each card shows you the points that you can get for those cards. The top gold medal is for the person who has the most of that type of card. So in this case, the person who has the most Yum Yum cards gets 4 points. The person who has the second most Yum Yum cards gets 2 points, and the third place person gets nothing. And the action that if you play the card, you can activate is written on the bottom of the card. So I'm going to explain the actions for each of the types of cards. The Yum Yum card you can play to force a player to continue rolling. So you play that on someone else's turn. The Pie card lets you resolve a token twice. So you get an extra action during your turn. The Shiny card lets you steal a stash card from a player. You put it in your hand, not in your stash. The Fish card lets you take a card from the discard pile. So if you know there's something good in the discard, you're going to want to steal it. Nanners. For Nanners, you get to ignore your last roll and choose to stop. That's great because in this game, there's a push your luck element and you can keep rolling and keep rolling, but if you roll the same thing twice, you go bust and you can't play at all. So Nanners lets you ignore that last roll and stop playing and continue on with your turn. Blammo helps with that as well. Blammo lets you re-roll your last die. Also, if you stash a Blammo, you get 1 point for every Blammo in your stash at the end of the game. Now, Kitty and Doggo are cards that you can play against other people. So if someone tries to steal from you, Doggo lets you block that steal attempt, and then you get to draw 2 cards. For Kitty, if a player tries to steal from you, you steal from them instead. This can be played against a Shiny too. So if someone is trying to play a Shiny to steal from your stash, you can still play a Kitty and steal from their stash. So those are the cards. Here are the tokens and how they're played. The 2 trash cans lets you take 2 cards from the trash. The deck is the trash. The 2 trees lets you stash up to 2 cards in your stash from your hand. This token lets you either draw 1 or stash 1. This token, little bandit hand, lets you steal from another player's hand. You just steal a random card. The mask token is a little unusual. For the mask token, you turn over the top card from the trash. Anyone who has a Blammo in their hand can then stash a Blammo to earn points. And the recycle token lets you take any tokens that aren't already taken on your turn. It's a little bit like a wild card. That'll make more sense in a second when I show you how to play. The way you set up the game in Trash Pandas is the first player gets dealt 3 cards, the second player gets 4 cards, third player gets 5, and the fourth player gets 6 cards. So the first player to go, everyone looks at their hands, check out what you got, you roll the die to see what token you get. I got the recycle token, so I take it. I can now decide to stop and resolve that token or push my luck and keep rolling. I'm going to keep rolling because it's early in my turn. Ooh, I got the steal token. I like to push my luck, so I'm going to keep going. Ooh, I got the stash too. I'm going to stop just so I don't go bust. So now I get to resolve these tokens. And you can resolve them in any order you want. So this lets me choose a token from what's remaining here. So I'm going to take this one because I'd like to draw some more cards. So I'm going to resolve that one first and draw 2 cards from the trash can. The deck is the trash can. Done that one. Now I get to stash 2 cards. So I'm going to look at what I have, which I'll share with you. And since I have 2 pies, and those are worth 6 points if I have the most, I'm going to choose to stash an pie. So that's going to go in my stash. And I want to keep the Blammo and Nanners because those are useful. I want to keep everything else, so I don't have to stash 2, so I'm not going to. And then for this one, I get to steal from someone else. So I'm going to steal from one of my children, and I get to steal randomly from their hand. And I drew an pie. So that goes into my hand. And these stay in my hand unseen. So now the next person goes and they do the same thing. So my daughter's gonna roll. She's gonna roll the 2 trash cans, so she gets that token. She can now decide whether to keep rolling or stop and resolve that token.
I'm gonna keep rolling.
Oh, she rolled the same thing again, so she went bust. So her turn is over, but there is a consolation prize. She gets to draw a card from the trash can to add to her hand. The end of the game is triggered when the last card has been drawn. The current player finishes their turn and the game is over and everybody counted up their points. So the easiest way to do that is to take what's in your stash. Whatever's left in your hand, useless. Set them aside. Take what's in your stash and separate by type. So I have the most Yum Yum cards, so I win first place for the Yum Yum cards and get 4 points. Anyone else have Yum Yum? No. So no one gets second place for Yum Yum. Blammo cards, everybody just gets 1 point for each Blammo in their deck. So I get 2. My son gets 3 points. Fiche. My daughter has first place for Fiche with 2 cards, so she gets 5 points, and I get second place, so I get 3 points. Pie, I've tied with my son. When there's a tie, you each get 1 less than the point value. So in this case, first place prize for pie is 6 points. We would each get 5 points. So I have 5, 8, 10, 14 points. And that's how you play Trash Pandas. We hope you have fun. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions or anything wasn't clear. We're happy to answer. Thanks. Bye.